Hey, and welcome to the Relearn Health Podcast. Little wordplay because I'm here with Dr. Eric Lerner. Good to see you, Doc.
Good to see you as well.
And I'm, of course, Dr. Ben Lerner. And today we are focusing on the fact that you can see, we're Erickson. You're rocking the plaid. I got the vest here. My only long sleeve shirt in my entire closet because we're from Florida, but it's actually been chilly out. And so around this time of year,
it's like 68 to
Yes.
72 right now, but that's Florida chilly.
I wouldn't even go out in it. And around this time of year, post Christmas and the holidays, everybody starts to talk about it being the flu season. And with as bad as people have gotten sick here recently, it seems to be like a more virulent version of this, whatever's going on in people's lungs. I'd say it's probably more like the cold playoffs. It doesn't seem like it's playing a minor game here. And really, the obvious thing is there's a way that you look at it that means everything. So there's not sort of this idea that somebody's anti one way or anti another, but how you see this time of year, how you see colds and flus, or even something like COVID really matters to how you're going to live your life and just how healthy you'll be. We actually, Dr. Eric and I, we call it expressing symptoms. I don't even label it the flu or anything else. People are always telling us, our patients are coming in saying, hey, I found something out. I have the flu. Like it's been diagnosed. This is no mere sniffle. I'm not just coughing. I have the flu, or I have COVID. I've got pneumonia, like they label it. We don't even call it that. We say you're expressing symptoms, because when you see yourself cough or sneeze or burn a fever or anything like this, that is your body healing itself. And as it expresses symptoms, it expels whatever viruses or bacteria are necessary for the body to get itself well. And we're going through all these different physiological processes needed to heal. Again, Dr. Eric, just a very different way of looking at the whole thing.
Yeah, we get a little bit of a unique perspective because in the office we have, I was in the office this morning. I had, 75 different people walk in. Right? I think most people, their perspective is just the family around them and maybe the few coworkers. And so in the office, people, right now, like you said, there's a lot of people who are not feeling great. And a lot of them have been to different doctors and have had different diagnoses. The symptoms are pretty similar from every person, but everybody's coming in. This person, it was diagnosed as COVID. This person was a flu. This person, it's bronchitis. But it's all the same thing, right? And so I think when you talk about how you look at it, it really comes down to what a person has been taught to believe as it relates to what causes us to be sick, right? So most people feel like the reason they're sick is because they've been exposed to a germ of some sort, right? Whether it's the COVID, COVID's a virus, right? So whether it's the COVID virus or, again, pneumococcal, the flu virus again, is that right?
That'd be bacteria.
Go
back to bacteria now,
science
right?
class here. Or back to bacteria. Okay. So yeah, so they think it's the germ, and that's what caused them to be sick. But here's the thing that, again, perspective is, there are a lot of people recently who have come in sick, right? I've seen a lot of sick people recently, but not everyone is sick, right? And in fact, even though it might seem like, most people have been, the truth of the matter is that most people are not sick. Most people I've taken care of over this last couple months have not been sick, right? There's just a lot of people who are. And so if it is the germ, the bacteria, the virus, if that's what causes us to be sick, really it should be everybody, right? Not just some minority that gets it. In my house right now, there's, it's my wife, myself, we have 4 children. One of my kids has been sick this week, home from school, and he's our youngest. And so, first of all, there's 5 of us living in the same house, not sick. And then we've been having him sleep in bed with my wife and I. So I'm face to face with him every night, and I'm not sick, right? So so this gets us back to the question of why. What causes one person to be diagnosed with COVID or the flu or bronchitis, and yet the person sleeping in the same bed breathing in face to face the same stuff doesn't have any diagnosis, no symptoms.
Yeah, and even when you look at so I was coughing up a lung over December, and anytime that happens, I'll get like a symptom like that, maybe like every 5 or 6 years. Like I'll go 5 or 6 years without anything, and then all of a sudden I have a bad, couple of weeks. So the first thing I look at is what made me susceptible. So because I take responsibility, right? I don't go, Eric, you got me sick, or the kids at school, or somebody at work, or this person breathed on me. Because to your point, in fact, the picture behind you is D.D. Palmer. And when he invented chiropractic, that was his question. He goes, why are 4 guys sitting at a workbench and one gets sick and the other 3 don't when they're breathing the same air? They got exposed to the same virus or bacteria. Obviously, one person's immune system could handle it and one person's couldn't. So I asked that question, what is it that made me susceptible? Why did my immune system drop to a certain level where suddenly those bacteria or virus that are always present in the air, they're always around us, why suddenly was I susceptible? And usually I can bring it down to, for me, pushing it too hard, not resting, getting up too early, going to bed too late, training hard, working hard, and just let my immune system drop. Sometimes I've been on vacation and I know, I ate something I normally wouldn't eat, too many carbs, too much sugar, something happened on vacation, again, let my immune system drop, and suddenly I became susceptible, but I'm taking accountability for it and making sure I'm spending the rest of my time not crushing my immune system, keeping it supported and as aggressive and highly functioning as possible, so that whether it's cold and flu season or cold and flu playoffs or even the cold and flu Super Bowl, I'll be ready.
Right. So there's the point, people. So what the things he was just describing were causes, right? So I said most people think the cause is the germ, but it doesn't make sense if more people are not getting sick than are. The cause that Dr. Ben was just talking about was not getting the sleep. For some people, poor diet. For some people, stress. People are always, when they do come in not feeling well, they're always telling me things, or a lot of people are telling me things like, well, I think I got it from so-and-so, or I don't know where I got it. I've been doing nothing and I got it. And it's not about looking outside, like who gave it to me. It's about saying, okay, in what ways have I maybe not been able to take care of myself the way I should or I could? So what made me weak so that I was more susceptible, right? So a very big difference in cause. Is the cause the germ, or is the cause something inside us that made us more susceptible? And again, I know we've been taught most of us our entire lives that it's the germs, it's the outside stuff, but that just doesn't logically make sense. And even if someone says, well, don't you believe in science? If you look at a scientific equation, A plus B has to equal C, all the time, or at least the vast majority of the time, for that to be science, right? So if A plus B sometimes equals C, that's bad science, people. And again, like you said, I same way for me. When I do get to the point where I'm sick or I'm expressing symptoms, you said earlier, I can almost always figure it out. Like, oh yeah, I was, in fact, for me, like a lot of times when we teach seminars, those are busy weekends. And afterwards I know, okay, be careful, not a lot of sleep. Your pace was different. You were going all day long. The diet or how you're eating when you're at a hotel and out and about is different. Even some of the mold and other junks in the hotel rooms or in the hotel where you're meeting, that stuff plays a big role, but that's a me thing, not the germ thing.
Yeah. So, as an example, during, the viral season we went through and they say has come back, I'm not afraid of it. In fact, if I have a patient that says I have COVID, I'm like, well, come in, you got to get adjusted. And they're like, well, aren't you concerned? I'm like, I'm not. I don't live my life concerned. I just have to make sure on a regular basis I'm adjusted so my immune system through my nervous system is functioning at its maximum capacity. I'm making sure. One of my employees said, yeah, I had a cold, so I took vitamin C. And I'm like, well, I take vitamin C every day. I'm always empowering my immune system to function. Now, sure, if I was fighting something, I might crank it up. But the bottom line is I'm always working on my immune system. I'm always taking my supplements. I'm always making sure my spine is healthy. I'm always getting my exercise, always focused on rest, always avoiding the things that tend to crash your immune system, like sugar and too many processed carbohydrates. That's always a focus. Then, like you said, if occasionally I get off focus and often we'll just start to notice, man, you have not been focusing. I'm feeling something coming on. I'll go get right back on track. One of the things that if you recall, Dr. Eric, we had a family member of ours recently. We said, hey, do you want to have lunch with us? And this is a very bright individual. I mean, smartest guy in the world, graduated from elite university, very successful, very wealthy, but would not have lunch with us. Not because it was something against you and I, although that might have been it, but it was, he said,
understandable.
go and what's that?
I said understandable.
Yeah. So that could have been it. But he was like in public, like go around people, like I'm not going around people. They have germs that can come kill me. And a lot of this too is then you're not leading your life. Like we led our lives through COVID. We lead our lives now when people are sick around us. We go out on airplanes into restaurants and do our sporting activities because we know that we're building up our immune system. We trust our immune system. So we have courage to go out there and do our thing, despite the fact that there's always all kinds of these non-seeable, hostile enemies that are always floating around us.
If you look at, again, what we call the cold and flu season, when we grew up in Ohio, in the suburbs of Cleveland. And so in the winter, it was super cold and nasty outside. And we were always told, it's really cold outside, you're going to catch a cold, be careful. Then we moved to the suburbs of Boston for a few years. And again, really nasty and cold, be careful, it's cold outside, this is cold and flu season, you're going to get sick. But we now live in Florida. And again, I wasn't kidding earlier, it's in the 70s today, and we're dressed like we're still in Cleveland. But the weather here is typically pretty nice, and yet just as many people get sick here during this time of year. But it's not the temperature, but we're recording this. It's early January, right? If you look at what season we did just come out of, was the holiday season, right? So you look at Thanksgiving and then to Christmas and Hanukkah and New Year's. If you look at the diets that people have during that time of year, not very good. If you look at the exercise regimen that people keep during that time of year, not very good. If you look at just the pace of life, the stress levels during that time of year, not very good. And so all of those things are difficult and hard on our body, hard on our immune system. And so then you become susceptible. Now everybody is sick. It's not the temperature. It's the stuff, right?
Yeah. So we don't have the cold and the flu in our house. We are always working on our immune system. If something goes wrong and we are expressing symptoms, we see our bodies are trying to heal from something and they're struggling to do it because our immune system kind of lost the battle and we're trying to regain ground and get healthy again. Then we have a regimen of improved health, immune support, and how we naturally overcome what's going on to get ourselves fully well again. Because when you take the drugs, it's like, I've actually looked at the packaging and looked into this before. Sometimes, candidly, I've been so sick, expressing so many symptoms and had something I needed to do. So I'm like, what is it? What does this do anyways? So I've looked at the drug and all it's doing is it like just shoves it back in. So all of the garbage your body's trying to get rid of, this just shoves it back in and keeps it there. Like, well, that's not going to get me well. My goal for me or my children is that as a result of, and our patients, as a result of what we're doing when we're expressing symptoms, we're allowing our body to overcome them. And afterwards, we're much stronger. We've built up our immune system. We're stronger than ever. And in science, what it shows is that you've developed antibodies against whatever you were fighting so that your body's more ready for it the next time. But if you drugged yourself up or you just, again, stopped the flow and shoved it back in, you didn't give your body the chance to actually heal. In fact, instead of just being bombarded with symptoms, you're now being bombarded with chemicals. And the outcome is that you're actually worse off and more open to getting sick again in the future versus, like our method. So Dr. Eric, we'll maybe share what we do when our families or our patients or ourselves, if we are expressing symptoms, what are some practical steps people can take?
Yeah, so listen, guys, I think this will be a good conversation here. So if you're wondering, again, what do we do or what do we put? We're about to share. So this is my family, right? I've got 4 kids I love very much. You want to know what does the doctor do to take care of illness when it's going on in their house? We're going to share that with you. And I'll say this too. One real quick thing is that a good study for you, or a good thing for you to think about, maybe put some work into, is start thinking about, why does the body do the things it does when you're sick, right? Why do we get a fever? What's going on with mucus and runny noses? Why does that happen? And I think if you start diving down the road of what do those things do or what's their purpose, you're going to be a little bit slower to try to stop them. Dr. Ben was using the thing of shoving it back in. If you're stopping your immune system, you're stopping your body from doing what it does to heal you, then you're probably not going to heal all that efficiently, right? And so for us, someone gets sick in our home. We have, like I said, my youngest right now is sick. What are we doing? We're not stopping the symptoms, right? So each night he's been getting a fever. We love that, right? We don't drug him. We don't bring the fever down. A fever is probably one of the immune system's most dynamic methods of killing bacteria and viruses, right? So whatever he's dealing with inside, whatever the infection is, that fever is needed. I have a family I take care of in my office right now, and they were in I think it was Saturday, and they have like 4 kids also, and the 2 adults, and they had a few people sick in the house, and the kids keep knocking it out nicely. Like they're getting sick, they're getting feverish, and the thing's gone. The mom said, it's weird. I've been sick like for 3 weeks, but I haven't gotten a fever. And I said to her, I go, what we really could use is a good fever, right? So we want to support that. So for us, we're not drugging our child. We're letting the fever burn at night. And what we're seeing is it kind of goes up at night. He's during the day, it's not there. So it's doing its thing. As far as nutrition goes, we want to eat foods that are easily digestible, right? When you eat food, a lot of blood goes to your gut to help with digestion. We don't want attention and energy being put there. We want the energy and attention in the immune system. So we eat easy to digest foods, or like for myself personally, I fast, right? I just don't eat much when I'm sick. I want to let my body put its energy towards healing, right? Again, towards my immune system. It's not some new agey thought. It's how the body works. Supplementation wise, like Dr. Ben said, we supplement all the time. We're not just supplementing when we're sick. We supplement all the time to make sure that we're giving our body the best nutrients and building blocks for a healthy immune system. But when I'm sick or when my kids are sick, we do bump our vitamin D3 up a little bit, right? So I actually will double my dose for a few days of what I would take on a normal basis. Vitamin D3 is something that's been really shown to be, vitamin C is good, but I always say that vitamin D is like the new vitamin C, right? That's been shown to be really powerful and really great for our immune systems. We try to get more rest, right? We try to get more rest. And I think I should have mentioned this first, but chiropractic adjustments every single day. So you get some people who will not come in for their visit saying, I don't want to come in because I was sick. Well, when my family is sick, we get adjusted every single day. The nervous system controls the immune system. It's the direct physiological control center for it. For every organ that makes up your immune system, your nervous system is what brings the power to it. I would not want to have anything but full power to my immune system. So it's not missing adjustments. It's actually stepping it up.
Yeah, people say, well, I couldn't come in, I was sick. I'm like, well, you should have came in twice. We'll get checked a couple, the term is checked. Like we'll get our nervous system checked once, twice, 3 times a day. We want to make sure it's functioning at its maximum capacity. We'll do some advanced things too, like the sauna, if you have access to one. We do a nebulizer. I mean, those lungs are really filling up. And if you're struggling there, we might nebulize something like colloidal silver as an example. That's another supplement we may take, colloidal silver, when we're trying to fight something. But again, just doing things to support our body's immune system to allow it to heal, not once again treating the condition. That's why, cold, flu, COVID does not matter to me. the solution is the same: support the immune system, allow the body to heal itself. And I realize this might be a little crazy for some people. I remember when I first heard this from a teacher in chiropractic school, we revolted. There was an all-out war when this guy said to not take drugs when you're sick. But once you've lived this lifestyle and you can understand this concept, the idea is that we have a trust in our immune system. We do things to build and support it, and we go out there and live our lives courageously. Thanks, Dr. Eric. Any last words?
Yeah, one practical thing on next. People are scared and nervous at first. What I've told people to do is pay attention to the symptoms, and I always say, are you winning or losing? Right. So with fevers, they're good. If the fever is hanging steady at a certain temperature, we're not losing, right? We're hanging in there. If it's kind of dropping a little bit, we're winning. If it starts getting up to probably higher than most people would think, maybe like 105-ish, are you losing? And if you feel like you're losing, then you could step in and do something, right? But even the idea of the next time you're sick, your body, you've always done drugs. The first time you get sick and you say, okay, I'm going to try to stay away from the drugs, it might not go well for you. So what you might want to do is, if typically you would jump on the drug on day 2 of being sick, hold out for day 3, right? Try to do a little bit better, wait a little bit longer, give your immune system a little bit more of a workout. So next time you get sick, you might have a better chance of fighting this thing off. So all I'm saying is don't jump on it right away, hang back a little bit, and then you'll see over time you develop an immune system almost like you develop a muscle from working out and stressing it.
Yeah, only your medical doctor can tell you to take a drug or not take a drug. The problem is they always say take it. So I would always ask, relative to your point there, Dr. Eric, on whether or not you're winning or losing, am I going to die here? And so if you're not going to die, the doctor agrees that it will likely run its course. See if you can't walk out of there either without a prescription or tear it up on the way out the door. Bless you guys. We really appreciate you. Keep following us. Share this whole Relearn Health. We're going to try to change the world with this. So please pass the word. Bless you all. And remember who you are.